Hey guys, back at it. This is day 69 in my daily diary challenge. We are doing 100 days of daily diaries, and I'm putting it out here on YouTube, kind of like the biggest platform I could think of, just to be real, raw, honest, open, share all my thoughts and words of wisdom. Sometimes it's really boring. Like, like I feel like today is going to be one of those. But anyway, I'm just learning alongside of you guys. If you would like to comment, share, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, all the things or none of the things, I am just here trying to be in the now, in the present moment, following my intuition and kind of having some sort of accountability. I do not edit these recordings. I literally push record and then I don't stop until the end, and then I just plop it into a video with some relaxing background sound, and there you go. I try to have all of my thoughts kind of in order, but I don't really have a script or anything. I'm just going off of what I feel in the moment. So let's get into day 69. So today I woke up hanging out with my love. We were able to just do a little bit of morning hangout before my love had to get to work, and he was doing some drawings. I was hanging out with him. Kind of had a really bad dream overnight that I was grieving, and I could feel it very physically painful, like my heart was being ripped out and my whole chest was being crushed. I was crying. It was just like a terrible feeling, and everybody in my dream was in black. There were a few friends around me who were just coming around and like consoling me and saying like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. You know, he was such a great man. You guys were so great together. Like, we don't really know how to express it, but we're just so sorry for your loss." So with that dream and the physical pain of loss, I woke up very quickly to turn and see that my love was still there. So obviously it didn't happen, but it felt real and it felt like it happened. And to switch my body physically out of grieving and to kind of tell it, no, that's not right, it was just a dream. It was a little challenging. So I had some weird emotions going on in the morning, and my love could definitely feel it, but we didn't identify it or talk about it until later. So really most of the day after I left and he went to work was me sleeping, meditating, relaxing, journaling, trying to figure out what all of these emotions and dream could have been. So after going through all of that throughout the day, I really felt like the dream wasn't a premonition that I was going to lose him. It was more of, this is the feeling that you would get if you did. So be strong and be ready. And I didn't really understand it until later on. So after work, my love got dinner and we hung out at his place, just eating dinner and talking, and I was able to talk through what I had just explained about the dream, about how I felt, about what I did, that I didn't want to say anything to upset or change what was going on, that I like to check in with myself and figure out what's going on in dreams or premonitions or feelings before I interact with somebody else, because I think it's happened before when I've tried to bring up something that's just happened. It's super fresh, I've not processed it, I've not gone through it or worked through it or figured out what it was saying to me, then I get the person who I'm with or the person who's around me, then them telling me what it meant and what I should feel. And so instead of having somebody else create the narrative and create the feeling for me, I like to process it on my own. And so we were able to talk about that as well. That this is how I do my processing. Like, I feel something, I pull away, I process it, I figure it out, and then I re-enter the situation and say, hey, this is what I felt, this is what was going on. If you felt any weird kind of energy, that was why. So it's just a learning process to figure out how to express that in the right way, because I'm not used to it. I'm used to keeping it all to myself because I'm a mom, and I keep my emotions to myself so that I could be there for my kids, and then I grieve and process later. So it was a really wonderful night together that we were able to just be open and communicate about what had gone on with me and how he actually picked up on the energy earlier in the morning before we left each other and went to ask me if I was okay, and I said I was okay before he even asked me. So we're getting more in tune with each other, but it's still kind of tricky when you're trying to learn these subtle communication things that are happening. So I don't really know how to explain it, but everything, it just feels different. Communicating, being together, all of that. And I don't know if I said it in the other day because I was still processing it. And sometimes, again, I don't say it in the daily diary unless I've processed through it. I was driving to see my love and get tacos with him, and driving through this little downtown area, I hit the border entering, and as soon as I hit that border entering, I started to cry and get emotional, and I heard very clearly that my love feels unworthy, that he feels like there's something missing, that he feels not up to the same level. And whether that's true or not, this is what I experienced. That when I entered the downtown area, I hit the border, I heard that. When this was the same stretch, just within a couple minutes, I calmed myself down. I was like, okay, let me write that in my notes app just so I don't forget it. And then as soon as I hit the border to exit the downtown area, I started to cry again. And I heard, you are there to help. You are there because you're needed. Protect your own energy. And that really hit me hard too, just because of what I heard prior. And now this was, I had the radio blasting at 50 level in my car, and I was singing along, and I was having a great time. I was vibing. It was a good energy. And then when I hit the downtown spots and I got those messages, they were super clear, undeniable. So I've processed through them, and I can see how they're relevant in the emotions that we're dealing with together. I can also see how they're astrologically, all this stuff is coming up too. We're about to hit eclipse season. We need to get rid of all this old shit before we move through into the next phase and we actually start, we're changing everything. We're getting rid of the old, the toxic, the bad stuff. And I apparently have to protect my energy. So I have to do all these things to remember that I am me. I still need to do self-care. I still need to do the things for me that make sense, that bring me joy, that give me the biggest burst of happiness. Those are the things that I need to do to keep my energy high so that I can be there for the people that need me. And it was just good for me to remember that, because I was starting to lose myself in this whole like, oh, I'm now somebody's girlfriend, and I'm now entering new spaces, and I'm, the kid's mom. And so I was just kind of going back to those old spaces where I'm not like, people they're not just like, oh, it's you. And they're just like, oh, it's, so-and-so's girlfriend, or it's the kid's mom. And I need to make sure that my identity and my energy stays protected. Not that I don't want to let people in, but that's what I got. So I had that old thing that I processed through as well. And it's just all a lot to deal with. So there's been a lot of energy shifts and spikes and drops and crying. Like, I feel like I've cried the whole entire weekend almost. But that is what happens when you are healing. Like, when you get a cut, it hurts. It's painful. It is healing every single second, every single minute, every single hour, every single day. But you don't really see it because you're not looking at it under the microscope. You just feel it. It's painful. It hurts. It, is irritated. It's inflamed. But the more that you protect it with Band-Aids and antibiotic creams and like whatever you use for your cuts and wounds, the more that you care for it and protect it, the better it's going to be. And the less you're going to notice that scar or that mark that was left behind. So I am in the process of caring for my wounds so that I can move through this next space without having that pain, that inflammation, that itchiness. Like, whatever comes from healing a wound, it's all, not pleasant until you're on the other side and you're like, oh wow, I didn't remember, like, that thing is healed. It's like not causing me any pain anymore. So that is what I'm working through. Personal traumas that are like scars, or not scars yet, they're like wounds that are still open that need to be healed. And I don't know, that's just what's been happening in the last couple of days. So I have gone over a little bit, and I'm going to wrap it up. So this was day 69. I really appreciate everybody who's hanging around with me. Hopefully you found something that was relevant. If not, it doesn't really matter. So if you did, comment, follow, subscribe, share, all the things, none of the things. I really appreciate you guys for hanging around, and we will pick back up tomorrow. All right, peace.